Will the Canon EOS R7 have an APS-C or full frame mount? And will the Canon EOS R10 be the successor to the M5 or M6 Mark II or the Rebel? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of misty morning, and that is it. How are you doing today? I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee. Maybe something harder, as I say. Depends on what part of the planet you're on, right, guys? So today is going to be a photo day. I was wrong, guys. I was wrong. It happens. It happens. And most of the time, you guys call me out on it. Well, what was I wrong about? The Canon EOS R7. Not that I was wrong that it was not going to be coming out or whatnot, but I said it was going to come out. It is going to be coming out. For sure, at this point, we're just about 99.9% sure we will see a Canon EOS R7. And I know in the comments in my last video, a lot of people were like, why would they even do that? You know, they have the M series and this and that, and what's the purpose, right? Well, it's coming out. Where I was wrong is in the mount. And I've said many times in the past that I don't think that the mount that is going to be on this camera will be a APS-C specific mount. Even though the R7 is an APS-C camera, I don't think that they're going to have a specific APS-C mount. They will do something like what Sony does and have one mount for all. Right? So that their APS-C cameras, as well as their full frame, use the exact same lenses. So if you bought a G Master and you spent a ton of money, you could actually put it onto your APS-C Sony as well as your full frame Sony and get value out of it either which way. I like that idea. Anyways, before I go any further, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. They're free today for you, just being here. Check it out, jcristina.com/books. Getting back into this APS-C versus full frame when it comes to the glass, the RF glass. Well, now supposedly we're going to see RF-S glass. Matter of fact, this is an EF-S glass. This is specifically for the APS-C cameras. They're usually cheaper, lightweight, kind of clunky, nothing special for the most part. Why they're doing this, I really don't know. I don't get it, because now they have to go into R&D, into development, into design of a whole new lineup of lenses. Now, if they do this, this will actually make them more money, because they make money not just on the body itself. They make money when you buy glass, all right? The more lenses you buy, the happier they are. Even though the majority of us only need about 3 lenses, I've covered this in a video. I don't know. Go check that out. 3 lenses, the holy trinity for the most part, any of us can get away with, for the most part. Unless you're a specialty shooter, you need a macro lens, or maybe you need a tilt shift because you're doing buildings, architectural work, whatever. There is always going to be a specification that you might need. Maybe you're shooting sports and you need a 1200 millimeter monstrosity torpedo. I don't know. But for the most part, you get a 24 to 70, you get a 70 to 200, cover that gamut, maybe something wide, maybe a prime, that couple of lenses, you're good. You're pretty much good. But they don't make money when you do that. They make money when you buy just a whole ton of lenses. So it could give some type of credence to them putting together a RF-S. Once again, a lens that's specific to APS-C. So that's what looks like is going to happen. Now we got some solidified, nothing solidified until they actually make the announcement, but let's say solidified information on the Canon EOS R7. And it looks really quite good. But we also heard that they were going to come out with an R10 at the same time. And I'll get into that in just a second. I think that is very interesting, especially for people that were talking about the M series, and I'll get into that in just a second. Anyways, as far as the specifications go for the EOS R7, it looks like it's going to be a 32.5 megapixel sensor. Of course, it's going to be APS-C, dual pixel AF, of course. We're not into quad pixel yet. Maybe quad pixel AF will come out when the R1 comes out. That's what I predicted a long time ago. We'll see if it actually comes to pass. I was wrong about this one. I think. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. Anyways, it also says it'll do anywhere from 15 to 30 frames per second. That is a lot. So, of course, 15 frames per second will be shuttered or mechanical, and 30 frames per second would be no shutter or electronic shutter, right? So that's pretty quick. This is going to be a beast, a very fast shooter. This is the equivalent to speeds that I would get in a 1D. The 7D Mark II, I'm looking to see if I have one around here. I don't. Has always been an amazing camera, especially if you're a birder or for any type of sports. You'd motor through a lot of images. Number one, it was like that crossover, that in between an amateur and a professional camera. I would call it a pro-am camera. You could use it for professional work for sure, and a lot of people have. It was just a great camera, period. I love the Canon EOS 7D Mark II. I think it is awesome. Anyways, that's what this is going to replace. There will not be, obviously, a Canon EOS 7D Mark III. It's going to be an R7, moving over to the RF glass. Anyways, going on with these specs, it's going to have 2 UHS 2 card slots. Fantastic. That, once again, gives credence to the more professional side of the camera in comparison to the R that I just bought, which only has 1 SD card in it, right? This is going to have 2. Thank God. That is great. More professional, so to speak. Also, it's going to be able to shoot 4K at either 60 or 50 FPS, and that will be NTSC as well as PAL. So you're looking at 4K 60 is the maximum you're going to get out of it. You're not going to see 4K 120, but that's okay. And as far as 1080, you will be able to get your 120 frames per second in 1080. Now that a lot of people like because they want to do some slow motion. I think with this camera, they probably could have pushed 240, but who knows? Maybe that will come to pass. We'll see. It will also shoot C-Log 3, which is fantastic, especially if you're trying to color grade between Canon cameras. That is great. And HDR PQ. I'll tell you exactly what that is when we get into the R10 in just a moment. Also, it does have in-body image stabilization, IBIS. That is fantastic. Once again, if you're a sports shooter or some type of birder or whatever, to be able to have that in-body or that IBIS, as well as having your IS on your lens itself, you end up with a lot more stops of compensation, let's say. So that is awesome also. Now, the Canon EOS R10. When I heard about this, I'm like, wow, this is something pretty big. This is pretty big news. And the reason being is this might put to rest, let's say, the M5 and the M6, the M Series, right? M50, M50 Mark II, so on and so forth. And this is one of the things that we were debating back in the last video. So anyways, these are the specs that we see for the R10. It'll be a 24.2 megapixel camera. It will shoot 15 to 23 frames per second. That is a lot, guys. 15 frames per second shuttered, that's mechanical, and 23 electronic, that's fast. It will have only 1 UHS 2 SD card slot in it, and it does do HDR PQ. Now, let me just tell you about this HDR PQ. Some people know, some people don't. HDR obviously stands for high dynamic range, whereas PQ stands for perceptual quantizer. So what exactly all is this, right? It's basically a standard. Let's look at it that way. The standard states this is your gamma. This is the highest level of brightness. This is your colors. This is everything. It's almost like a codec, let's call it, so that all of the monitors out there understand that if they're trying to show you a HDR PQ image, they know exactly how to show it. They know what the gamma will be, right? They know what those levels will be. And they're a consistent or a constant number. So when you see HDR PQ, it's basically just saying that it abides to the standard of HDR that's currently on the market, okay? So anyways, that's what that's all about. And it does do that. Just like the R7, the exact same thing, it does have HDR or high dynamic range PQ. So the question, once again, is the R10 going to be the successor of the M5, M6 Mark II, and we're going to do away with the M Series altogether? Now, this could be the case where I was wrong about the lenses and them making RFS lenses because I thought that they were going to keep the M Series. And if they did, they're going to continue making M glass, right? If they do away with the M series altogether and then bring in this EOS R10 as the baseline, the very bottom line of their RF lineup, which has APS-C, one card slot, everything dumbed down, and use that as the replacement to or the successor of the M5 and the M6 Mark II, you might be able to then do away with the M series altogether. And then I would say, well, then it makes sense, right? Because you still have two lens lineups. You're not going to be making EF anymore for the most part. You're going to do away with the M lenses altogether if you're going to discontinue that. And then you're going to still have two. You're going to have RF and RFS, and that is it. So it kind of makes sense. I don't know if I would do that. I mean, if you think about it, the best part of glass is in the center anyways, right? So if you shoot an APS-C camera or sensor with full frame lens on it, it's going to crop into the best part of the glass anyways. That's what Sony does. So why make an RFS lens? I don't know. Maybe you guys know. We'll have to see. Supposedly the announcements are going to be coming out either June or July for the R7 and at the end of May for this R10. So we will see what ends up happening, but I want to know your thoughts on this. Is this something that you're interested in? I'm really interested in it. Obviously, I'm a Canon shooter, but I shoot Sony, I shoot Panasonic, I shoot whatever I need to for the specific job, so it doesn't really matter to me too much. But I am interested because a lot of people have been debating this whole idea of the R7 coming out, not coming out. If it does come out, does it have APS-C mount on it, or does it have a full frame? What is going on? So once again, I want to know your thoughts on it. Are you interested in it? What do you think? Is this something that you would purchase? Would you purchase like an R7, which would be the equivalent to a 7D or 7D Mark II? Or would you purchase an R10, which would be equivalent to, let's say, an M5, M6 Mark II? Maybe this R10 is not an M5 or M6 Mark II. Maybe it's a Rebel. If that's the case, that means that they can actually keep the M series around, right? And now you have a Rebel to bring in the customers, and then you can move them up your chain, move them up your line of more expensive equipment. So that's, I guess, a good question for you guys too. Would the R10 be the equivalent to a Rebel, or will the R10 be the equivalent to an M5, M6 Mark II? That might make a major difference to either continue the M line or do away with it. What are your thoughts? Anyways, if you enjoyed this even a little bit, please throw this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, family, colleagues, Reddit, Facebook, wherever. Also subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and click this little bell icon over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.